Hey, welcome back to Soda Time Restoration. Mark Cohen here. We're back on the Vendo 81. We have just now put the undercoating on the back side of the door, and we'll let this set up probably tonight. Give you a shot of what we've got going on here. We just did the undercoating on the inside of the door. Always make sure you protect that stuff. That undercoating is some gooey stuff, but it does dry really nice. It dries really solid, good protection for that bare metal. But tonight we're going to work on getting the trim pieces going. We got a couple of things here for the door. Obviously doesn't look too bad. We'll let you look at it now, and then we'll see some video time after it, but you'll see that dent right there. Not too bad. I think it's the only dent I see on the main one. And then we've got just a little piece, got a little bit of a dent there. So if you've never done stainless before, if you watched on my earlier one where we did the stainless on the side of this cabinet here, boy, it really come out good. Really coming along good. We got the compressor in it the other night. I got the stainless, everything back on it, put the front fascia pieces on, and man, it is coming along really good. I usually start out, and we'll work the corner on this one. This one's got the bad corner on it. You can see it right there. Thank goodness right in the middle. Those curves on the inside are tough to get. I got a little dowel pin that I use. If you've been following me long, I've used this same dowel pin probably for, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years. I used to try to find new stuff. I tried to just try to take the dents out, and wasn't doing a very good job. I finally went and did a couple of nights worth of training with a guy, Charlie Todd, here in town. He said, man, he says, you can save every bit of that stainless. I said, are you kidding me? And I think one of my earlier videos, I said that I threw too much of that stuff away, and I did. I didn't think it was repairable. But I think that last 81 I did was some of the worst trim that I've tried to repair, and man, it came out really good. But I try to use a piece of wood underneath, and we're going to try to get that little dent out right there. It's in that little corner there. A little tough because you got to get it really flat on that inner piece. See if I can get it just about right here. One thing about using the wood, it's very forgiving, and boy, about got it there, just a little bit more. It's very forgiving and doesn't leave any dents on the other side. Real good, real good. So the corner one's gone now. We're gonna work on this one right there. These are not very bad, but you don't want to put them on a nicely restored machine. And man, if you can save the old stuff, it takes a little bit of work. Just about got that one. A little bit more here. I'm really excited to get this machine done, get it to my sister. One I've been working on probably since, we probably started in January, I think, when we got the machine. So I've been on it. I think she's gonna enjoy it tremendously. So once you get this piece here as flat as you think you can get it, I'm gonna try something. If you've got one that's got, I may use the file right there. I can see a little bit there that needs a little bit of filing. I can see a little bit filing right there. So let me grab my file right quick. All right, so I'm not gonna file any of this. There is hardly anything wrong with this. I will use some 600 and we'll work our way back up. But I'm gonna file this spot right here so you can kind of see the highs and lows. Get you a file that's fairly fine. You don't have to get anything crazy. A real fine file. I'm probably due to get a new file. I've been using these for several years. I'm sure they've lost their edge a little bit. Almost every piece of stainless that you're going to get off of an old machine is going to have a dent in it probably. So as you can see the highs and lows there, you see a low, a high, obviously. We're going to work a little bit and see what we can get down. And I'm going to stop about right there. As you see, it's getting better. Once you get into that low spot there, we may tap that one just a little bit more if it doesn't start coming back here. That is your sign that it's a little bit too deep still. But as you can see, all those tops are now coming clean. And I haven't been on this really for 5 minutes, unless Sean sped me up there, but literally we haven't been on this very long. So I'm gonna tap a couple spots right there. We'll see what that did. You can see I got the one starting to go away. And right there, little tiny spot right now. We're gonna try to get this big one right here. We get right on top of that. Boy, almost got it. Got just a little spot right there now. It is almost gone. Matter of fact, it's going. Not bad, not bad. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Hopefully you can. I got enough. Let me kick on a little bit more light here. We're gonna fire up the DA, which I've got it locked in. Everybody's gonna look at my DA and like, good night, can he not get the right stuff? This has been my go-to for a lot of years. And basically, if you haven't seen any of my videos, I've locked it down. I locked the ring down. Probably some of the newer DAs, they got a ring you can actually lock down. This one here, you could push it in and lock it in, but it would come loose. So I've got it taped down. We're going to start with 600. If you got a stick it pad, if you try to use stick it, it somewhat works, but not very good because you're spinning this pad and not just doing dual action. You're spinning it, and to get the direct spin on it. So I use Velcro. It never throws paper off. Now it probably will tonight since I've said that, but let's see what we can do. We're going to do 600 over the whole thing, and this side here is going to be just a cleanup. So we'll start on that, and I'm probably going to go ahead and take, I like leaving these on. It gives me something to hang on to while I'm doing the work sometimes. But we're going to go ahead and take the pad, the holders off here, get them out of the way. Okay. So right there's, 30 seconds worth of stuff right there that I've done. This is 600, and you can kind of see where we're going already. It's gonna shine it up pretty quickly. I probably could have started at probably 800 and done the same thing, but since we've got this corner here to deal with, that's where we're gonna be at. So we'll keep going here. First pass, that's our first sheet of 600. I'm going to take this sheet off. I'm going to jump to 800. It may be a little quick right now, but let's just see if we can get by with it. And I'll tell you really quick if we can get those scratches that we did with the file. I'll show you where we're at right now. You'll see some file marks right there, and my paper is probably at its weakest point. But let's see what we can do with the direct 800, going to 800 grit right now. It almost got all of them out. Pretty close. I see just a little bit there in that one corner there. We'll see if we can get it out. Probably if I had stayed with the 600, it'd have been a little quicker. All right, so this is 800. Pretty well, I've got everything out. And now we'll jump from the 800. We're gonna make a big jump here. We're gonna go to 15, and you're gonna watch the luster of this really come back. We've got our 1500 on there right now, and let's see what it does. So this is 1500. You can see the luster of the metal is starting to come back. It looks really good. Now we're going to jump up to 2000. This will be our last step before we do a final polish with the Vivid Restore. You can kind of see the angle that I'm using, where it's wearing the paper down. Haven't went through too many sheets. Get our 2000 on there. This will be our last buff here. All right, that is 2000 now. 2000 grit on there. So let's take our Vivid Restore. We'll take off just a couple inches here. Looks like cotton candy. You're not familiar with Vivid Restore. If you're watching any of my videos, I use it all the time. Product we've got on Amazon right now. Vivid Restore, stainless, pot metal, chrome. I've even used on glass to polish out. It's a finishing product. It will take this and put the gloss back to stainless. So let's see what it does here. We'd never hit a buffing wheel on this as far as putting it on a buffing machine. Kind of give you what you're going to start seeing, what it's taken off. But it's a finished product. If you got a lot of chrome, stainless, it's great to finish the product off with. It will put a polish on there. Let's buff this off here and see what it looks like. And as you can see, it puts the glow right back on stainless. That's the first pass. I might make 2 or 3 passes on this to finish it off. Started at 600, we went to 800, then we went to 1500, then we went to 2000. Some stainless may allow you to jump a little quicker. This is one of those pieces I probably could have done that with. Probably didn't need to start out 600 in this area, but since I was there, I figured, well, we'll just go ahead and do it. Hope that's showing on camera because it's glowing over here. And this little 2-inch piece will go forever on stainless stuff like this. You know, 2 to 3 inches can almost do a whole wheel on a car. If you got a chrome wheel you're trying to clean up, great product for that. I'll try to show you this corner that we reworked. Maybe Sean can have a before and after, but so, you know, I did not ever put this on a buffing wheel. It's all been sanded and then using the finish, the Vivid Restore. And as you can see, the dents are no longer there. No dents. But if I can get this close enough where see that on camera. But man, it is smooth. I may hit it one more time with a Vivid here. Obviously, if you got a buffer, it'd probably go a little quicker, but really no need. No need was there. Once you get that sanded down, get your file, get everything down smooth and flat. Original stainless, not bad for mid-50s product and still able to use it. Just amazing. If you got some swirl marks still in there a little bit, just hit it again with your 3000, or well, hit it with your 2000. It'll eventually take those swirls out, but probably didn't look this good brand new. Not this shiny at least. It was probably dentless obviously, but wow, not bad, not bad, not bad. That's gonna look good, matching that up on there. So we got one more piece here and a tiny dent right there. And what I'm gonna do, let's try something. Let's start out with 800. We're gonna jump a step. It's a pretty nice piece. We'll start with 800 and see if we can get the same results without taking it all the way down. And there's kind of a first hit, and you can see that one little dimple that we talked about. You can see it now. Really Probably that one right there is the only one I really see. It would be right there underneath that piece there. See if we can get that out of there. There we go. See if we can tag that just right. Almost can see it right there. It's kind of a sharp dent. Not really a dent. It looks like something's kind of stabbed it a little bit. Close. We're gonna go ahead and do a little filing on it. This will cause me to go back to the 600 right here to get these little marks out. Just about got it. You can barely see it right there. Let's see if we can get it out with some 600. Since we've got some 800 on the pad, let's go ahead and try that right quick. See what that does. Wow, I think we got it. It is gone. I believe we got her. Everything is totally smoothed out. We're ready to jump up on the grits. We did that with 800. Pretty surprised I didn't lay a lot of heavy scratches on that. So we're gonna jump up to 15 and we'll see if we can do a little, start finishing it out here. All right, we're gonna jump it up to 2,000. The metal is getting a little warm, so a little tougher to hang on to. All right, let's get a little bit of Vivid Restore on it. Give it that last polish hit. Still using my original piece here. If it's still got lubricant in there, it'll still work. All right, let's wipe that down. Would you look at that? Look at that piece there. We can see that. Pretty good, pretty good. Boy, it just feels like a piece of glass. All right, tonight we will get started. Basically, we'll just take some stuff apart right now so we can get this buffed out. We'll take the light switch out, which we'll be replacing the light switch. And the wiring will be different. If you've tried to get the push button switch, which this one here actually does sound decent. It has a little bit of not a very good pop to it, but it does sound like it's working. But I'm not going to take a chance on this machine going down, the light assembly at least. So I'm going to put a new assembly in it, because if it goes down, you're taking the back all off. It would not be a fun deal. If it was my own personal machine, I might try it. I still would not like that day when I'm like, man, why didn't I just stick the new one in there when I was doing that? It's not that much more money to get it, so. But we'll get this wiring harness out of here. Take the old ballast out. Save most of these little pieces because we're probably going to need a little bit of the bolt-in stuff to get this back together. So ballast is out. We will try to get this buffed up here real good and make it look like brand new. We're going to start out with a little bit of steel wool. We'll finish with our Vivid Restore. So we'll start on this side here. This is where your light assembly is on the inside. We will be putting a new bulb in there. Steel wool does pretty good. This is triple aught steel wool. I pretty well clean both sides. I know a lot of it gets covered up with the gasket and everything, but I like to get it as clean as we can get it before we put it back together. Usually the base down here is the worst spot, and it's what's going to show the most. I have to get a razor blade and clean some of that up. We'll try a little bit of steel wool on it first. If you're thinking about changing the light, this will be a good video for that. The light assembly that you get right now will be wired a little bit differently. Cleaning up pretty good. Pop the bulb out of there quick while we got it loose here. This is the back side. Most of this will not get shown, but we'll still get it cleaned up really good here. Steel wool definitely gets the real rough stuff off. All right, we're going to start with some Vivid Restore. Try to see if we can bring this stainless up to the best we can get it. Do a little spot here so you can kind of see a little bit of a before and after. If you're getting some black off, you know you're heading the right direction. I usually let it set just a little bit after polishing it. Let it really soak into the metal really good. Let's take a rag and buff that off. Let it set just a little bit here. Oh yeah. Hopefully you're seeing this on camera. We're going to give it a little bit of a shot of some cleaner here. If you can keep wiping it, it'll start coming clean like that. That's our original hit right there, but if you can come across it and not get any more metals off, that's what we're talking about. We are going to bring that brilliance back to the whole rack. The Vivid Restore just is a great finishing product. You can come back in 6 months from now, hit it again. I think it just keeps getting a little better. It does give it a protectant at the end. So when you wipe this off, you can feel it. It is smooth compared to, you can hear the roughness there where hardly anything there. But man, so we're going to continue here. Probably go over it a couple times and get it to the brightest look that I can get out of that stainless. Obviously the inside of the rack we're going to concentrate really hard on. I like starting on the outside just so I know I've got it really the best we can get it. But you'll see what we're getting off, and we're not taking all day on this thing. We're literally, we spent what, 5-10 minutes maybe on it. But use your steel wool first, get all the rough stuff off, and let the Vivid Restore do the finishing product. Oh yeah, unbelievable. I hope you're seeing that in the camera shot. It's wonderful here. Give you a shot of it here. Obviously if you took this to a buffer, yeah, you could get somewhere probably a little quicker, but man, we're doing this by hand and the finish is just crazy nice. There's an area we haven't touched yet. You can kind of see the difference there between the two. I did our shower doors with all the stainless trim that goes around your doors, and man, you talk about big difference. Of course you get all that hard water on there, it's hard to get off. But so if you got some shower doors, you want to clean them up, it does great on shower doors too. If you're just now tuning in and wondering where to get the Vivid Restore, it's on Amazon. Just pop in Vivid Restore. At one time couldn't do that. The product's getting more familiar on Amazon, so it's starting to come up a little bit easier. $19.95. This is in 2024, so if you're watching this video and it's 2032, I'm sure the price is probably not going to be the same. But in 2024 we were at $19.95, so I know these videos will stay on there forever. So that is all the back side right now. We're going to flip it over. We'll go ahead and get the back side of this one here. Looks like cotton candy when you pull it out of there. It's kind of looks just like a piece of you'd pull off of cotton candy. About 6 feet in the jar. We'll start down here. Let's wipe that down. Oh yeah. Now let's go to the inside. That cleaned up really good. Hit this one more time. Your other side's got the light in it, not much of a rail system on that. So we'll get this one kind of cleaned up. That's looking really very nice, very nice. Let's get the base here. This is the one that always gets all dented up. I'm liking that. Got one piece here by the light we want to get. Alright, that is looking really good. We're going to hit it with a little bit of extreme detailer. We'll wipe it down. This thing really cleaned up pretty good. And not a lot of time. You know, it's just a little bit of detail work, get everything really nice. It doesn't take that long. It's looking good. Alright, we're going to get the bottle chute light interior piece. We're going to get it mounted in there. There'll be a gasket in between, so we're going to stick this up underneath here quick, like so. And a gasket. Only one way that gasket will go on there. I don't think there's a upside down, but there is a side. You want the whole side to be on this other side right here, and that's what attaches the light assembly to it, and it will slip underneath here. So start in the corner, not too tough to do, especially with the light assembly loose. You can kind of raise it up and get it tucked in there underneath there. If you're thinking about using that old gasket, don't do it. This is a critical area where the air needs to be sealed by the door, and it needs to be extremely soft and pliable. Unless it's just a really recent gasket that had been put on, or not that much money, put a new one on, because you will lose a lot of air right through here if that gasket is not nice and soft and pliable. There we go. You'll see some holes. Get all the holes lined up so you can see where your screws are going to be hitting. If you got a little ice pick, make sure you get that lined up really good. Give me a little ice pick. There's one at the top, there's one at the bottom. You will find those are, if you don't get one of the two in right off the bat, it will give you trouble down the road. I like to get a screw in this first one up here right off the bat, and get a screw in there right quick. Be careful not to strip them out. It will pull through. You just got a very, very light, thin metal at that point. The next two I always try to get in are these two top corner ones, and you may see how it does here. It's gonna hit all right. I get this one in, and then I go back down to the bottom. If you need to stretch the gasket out so those bottom holes all line up, then the rest is a piece of cake. And everything looks like it's lining up really good right now. Right now we're going to go back to the bottom. Okay, went back to the bottom. Make sure, get this bottom one in. That's critical. That way you got the bottom one and your top one done. And then these other ones will come into play then. But I think I've tried to do it coming down the rail and just staying in order. But I'll get down here and the gasket needs to be pulled a little bit tighter down. So I've found get the top and the bottom one in first, and then come along and make sure on the side where the bulb goes in, make sure you get the shorter screws in there. Make sure they're all the shorter ones. You get too long a one in there, and it'll go too deep and it'll puncture the bulb. Or it'll try to at least rub on it, and it's going to be hard to change the bulb in and out. So make sure you get those on there correctly. Hey, welcome back. We're getting the lighting rack assembly put into the back of this Vendo 81. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update. What has changed on the light switch If you go back to one of my earlier 81s that I've done, I wired it up differently. The switch was different. It worked fine. I went back to my same instructions, tried to wire this one up that same way. It'd turn on, but it wouldn't shut off. So I pulled out the instruction sheets. Imagine that. If all else fails, get the instructions out. I didn't have instructions on the first one, and so I kind of went by way I thought it'd work. It worked fine. There was a change that I had to do on that particular switch, but I got it to work. So you got your two blue wires. I've got them running to the top. I don't think it makes a difference. I got the two reds coming in here, both screwed to two different circuits. The toggle switch, the button switch, one of the main lines that comes off of it is one of the leads that goes out to the electricity. The other one hooks to the white wire coming out of the box. So you'll have a white and a black. The other black wire will be the other hot wire that you'll be hooking up to your 110 connection. So a little bit wired differently. We're going to plug this in right quick, make sure it works. And just like that, hit the button again. On and off's working good. That looks good. Everything working good. So this is the new ballast assembly. I got this from Funtronics. I followed their instructions to a T. And imagine that, it works great. So I should have paid attention to that when I got it out of the box, but I just kind of went with what I did on the last one. So I don't know what they changed from the last one, but it is definitely different. So when you get the new ballast in, obviously it's half the size, half the weight. You will need to drill you a little hole here. The main holder is shorter, so it will need another screw put on there. But right now I've just got all these kind of just crimped. I have not done the heat shrink on them yet, so we're going to heat shrink all these up right quick. If you don't have heat shrink, make sure you wrap all your connections really good. You don't want any bare wires in there. I do a crimp and seal type connections. So you actually crimp the wire in there, and then it's got heat shrink built into the connector, and it shrinks down to the wire. Works really, really good. And if you want to wrap these after you get done, you can. One more down here. After these cool down, I always like to pull on them, make sure nothing pulls out, because once you get this covered back up, we're going to be putting insulation in that tonight. You don't want to go back in there. So make sure it's all good. Get our push button up through the housing here. Something else you want to make sure you get really nice and tight. You don't want that to be loose in the housing. There we go. So make sure before you cover it up, always check and make sure all your lighting is working off and on. I've went back and done some of these before and got it all together and then found out like something wasn't right. So yeah, make sure you check all that. We've hung the door now. We haven't put our insulation in, but we got to get our trim pieces on next, so thought we would stop and get this done right quick. So make sure you get all your little trim pieces back in there. On your big piece up front, there will be 4. You'll have 3 on the long side, and of course there'll be a short one there in the corner. Get all these back in there and slide down the track really nicely. And then we got one in the corner. So get them lined up. I usually get my sliders all kind of matched up to the outside hole right quick. That looks pretty good. Get this outside one on first. So stick your outside one on there first, and then come on around and hit these next ones in the track, just like that. And then we'll get our nuts put on the inside. get a ratchet and get it tightened up here. 5/16. Don't over tighten these on the first time through, just get them snugged up. Got one that is a 3/8. Now go through there and put the last, and do not over tighten these or you will push that right into your clear coat finish. Just snug them up, they're not going anywhere. Wow, does that not look just crazy good? Unbelievable. Let's put our little corner piece on. Just like that. Come around to the inside. Keep it from falling off. One of the trickier ones to put on, I probably should have, if you're doing this, you're watching a video, I strongly suggest putting this corner one on before you put the shoot area on, because it's just a little tougher to do this way. Kind of forgotten about it, and it's because of the what you got to reach. It's not terrible, but it is a little bit on the tougher side to get on there just right. There we go. We're getting ready to put the insulation in. All the lighting is in, everything is working. The undercoating's done. We're going to grab a little bit of insulation and we'll get this started. Like to get all the insulation put in tonight in the door and get the back liner, door liner installed. Make sure you check your lighting before you get to this stage. You don't want to get to this stage, get everything put together, and then plug your lighting in. It doesn't work. This is when you want to check it right quick. You want to make a little bit of a hole where your shaft comes through at, and then take this arm and we want to get it laid on top, and we're going to cut a pathway for it. We'll cut a little bit of a sleeve here where the door lock comes through, and I always just kind of pull this apart right here so this arm can work without anything pushing against it. I want it to work pretty freely. I'm going to scoot this over. Okay, we're good. So let's get our last piece in there. I've seen people leave the paper in. I'm kind of I like to take the paper out. I don't know if good, bad, if there's a difference, but I always take the paper off the backing. All right, so we got our slot up here where our latch goes through. We got the hole where your ratchet assembly, where it goes through the coin mech and operates your opener, opening the rack assembly. All right, it's looking pretty good. Next step, a little spot right here, I see. It's time to get the liner on. The next step, getting it attached. Get you a gasket attached on there right now. I've got the preformed one here. That pretty well, that's all I'm doing right now is the preforms. Preforms got the holes already drilled, which is very, very nice. Not always did the preformed, but I did it one time and man, it's just so nice. A little extra, but it fits really good. I usually start in the one of the corners. I think I'm gonna start in this corner over here. I like to keep it lined up really good. Make sure we hit all the spots. That looks good. Let's start our corner here. I always get an ice pick, something with a point. Get that first hole started. Once you get the liner check that corner and then check another corner up a little ways. And typically I'll leave that one in. I'll grab another one here, recheck myself right quick, and we're on the money. So if you'll leave one in here, that'll give it a little bit of a guide, and you're ready to start. So when you tighten this down, I don't tighten it all the way, but I put my thumb up against there just like that, and then as we go, I want that pretty well straight. Right now I know the gasket is pinned down here at the other end, so we're gonna head down this side and see how good our alignment does. Sometimes you gotta pull the gasket just a little bit, which is not uncommon. Get your thumb up behind it, and it's literally that easy. I used to dread doing them, but it's with the pre-drilled ones, it really has taken a lot of the having to poke a hole and make sure you got the holes lined up. Try not to tighten them down too far. We will come back around and recheck our line straightness. And if everything looks good, then I'll tighten them up. I'm anxious to hang the door tonight though. It's always feels like you're coming around second base heading to third when you get to getting the door hung. Now we can take our guide pin out. If it feels like you're getting to the end here and the straightness is kind of getting away, you may have to back some of these off and come back around. I've had to do that before, so it's nothing crazy. When you get to the corner here is usually where some of your issues kind of start. And what I like to do at this point, and I can tell you right now, we're going to loosen a few at the right here. Just loosen them up, not too bad. That gives you a little bit of adjustment, and we're going to line up the other side now. Don't back them all the way out, just get them loose. So we missed one right here. The door will start flexing a little bit and coming back into line with this liner on there. So this is a critical piece of getting your door situated a little bit. And I can tell you already that helped a bunch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the one right up here on the light assembly, the one on the outside here, and it needs to be pulled down just a little bit, like right there. So let me get one in that corner there, and I think that will help the alignment, help that get pulled around there a little better. I'll show you how our alignment's going here. So if you get to the top here, and not too bad. As you can see, there's a hole. So that's at least a good sign that, hey, we're on. But as you come around the corner is where it gets a little bit tricky. So I'm going to try to do the top right now. We've got one in down here. So we've got this pulled over pretty good. Now we're going to look for this top and see if we can get it and get that gasket to hit right on the outside. And I won't get it. I'll probably pull this one down just a little bit because this is pulling it into shape right now. Good. And we'll come back to this one over here and we'll keep coming. Actually, in the corners, I kind of actually pull it out a little bit because it wants to pull in so deep. I try to pull it out a little bit so it fits the curvature of the machine. Just makes it look nice and clean around that edge. Once again, don't tighten them all the way. It helps on alignment to keep pulling everything around. Usually the top is once you get around this top, everything starts really pulling together really good. But it does help the squareness of the machine with the liner. Loosen that one just a little bit. Pull that out just a little bit. And before I put the corner ones in, I like to pull this one up to the highest point where you can still see the hole, but I want the highest point because I want as much gasket on that curvature right there. That feels good. So there's some inside ones here you want to watch out for. They need to take a shorter piece at this point, or you're going to have your bulb is going to be hitting right there. You don't want to get it any longer. We're going to stick one in. I'll kind of show you what it looks like here of what I've been using. I think these are 3/4. No, they're halves. These are halves. So I think the halves are just a tad too long. Let me check one here right quick. I want to get them too off there. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let me try another one here. So maybe at one point in time I had issues with the 3/4. The halves don't look too bad. Let's try another one here. Not bad. Not bad at all. I can feel it, but it's not any issues, it looks like. Looks good there. All right, let's do the finishing tightening on it right now, and the liner will be on. Remember to run your thumb on the back side as you're tightening it down. Okay, the liner is on. Not too long, especially when you speed it up. All right, let's get this thing standing up. So the gasket's on, and man, I just like that fitment. I like it when it fits that outside edge very nicely. Comes around, fits everything so good. And this is a point where if you need to make an adjustment, this is the time to do it. So if you got a gasket that's just not fitting just the way you want it, back your screws out, make that gasket fit, because once you start fitting it to the door and shutting it, it's going to start forming itself at that point. So you want to get it now. All right, next thing we're going to get our lock put on so we can get the door set, and probably we'll be going to the coin door next. But wow, looking good. We will be right back.